Welcome to the mysterious cases and the worst of the 20th century. I can't help but mention the Zodiac serial killer. The Zodiac has spread terror across America. With brutal murder cases and these mysterious, provocative secrets, the Zodiac is known. It's one of the names, the most violent crime in history. Crime in the US. It's not just cruelty in criminal justice. He likes to challenge the police and bragged about his evil deeds. In particular, he's a super smart criminal, has an extremely high IQ. What is talked about the most and become the most famous in this case? That's the thing. The killer sent lines of coded characters, mysteries for the press. At the same time, he declared, if we decipher it, we'll know his identity. 10 years after the case, his identity remains a mystery, and everyone knows about him. It's called the Zodiac. There are millions of people in the world set up research groups to decipher the killer's password. This person, a series of books and even movies were born. Add salt sauce, make Zodiac together. His ciphers have become even more mysterious. Recently, a civil society organization announced, we've discovered the true identity of the Zodiac. So is he the AI Zodiac? Is it really him or not? Next we'll go back in time. Back to back, the Zodiac's mass murder cases. The 20th of December 1968, that day was Wednesday. David Ferry is a 17-year-old high school student with 16-year-old Betty Jensen. I'm going to Howard High School to attend a Christmas concert. You two are having fun on the road. In the middle, they changed their minds and decided to meet a friend. They stopped in front of a restaurant and then continued driving on Black Herman Road. 250. They drive to a long gravel intersection by Lake Herman Road. This is a famous road in an area called Loveland. It is translated as Lover Lane because the area is deserted and private, so many couples choose to come here to confide secretly. After David and Betty finished parking, suddenly, there's a car coming up and sitting next to them. There's a man getting out of the car. The couple fired a gun and forced them to get out of the car. Both thought he came only to steal, so he obeyed. But I can't believe the man pulled the trigger and shot David in the head. Betty saw that and ran away in a panic, but unfortunately, the man shot Betty in the back. Betty was shot a total of 5 times and fell 8 meters from the car. The killer then fled the scene. Around 11 o'clock noon, a local resident, accidentally passing through the area above, find out about the incident and call the police. After the police came, they confirmed both were killed. The wounds on their bodies are a .22 caliber rifle caused. It was late and the place was empty, so there's no one to see it. The police also investigated all the people around the scene. No suspicious suspects were found, so the police concluded this could be a criminal case. Improvisation after the case. Solano County is awash in a dangerous atmosphere, and no one dares to go out. In the evening, 6 months later, the second case continues. Friday, April 7, 1969. Right on US National Day, and yet another horrific attack continues. Late that night, Michael Morrow was 19, with girlfriend Dallin Farron, 22 years old, to a golf club in Blue Rock Spring, Vallejo. The crime scene above. It's only 6.4 kilometers from the first case in Lover Lane. 2 people parked on the side of the road not long after. There was a car coming and stopping for a while. It seems like they couldn't find what they were looking for, so they launched. But 10 minutes later, the car is parked behind the couple's car. A man gets out of the car, shining bright flashlights in their eyes. The couple can't open their eyes for a while. When you open your eyes to look, both of you find out. In the hands of a man holding a 6-gun. They thought it was the police on patrol. We should start looking for the car. But surprise, he directly pulled the trigger, shooting indiscriminately at the couple, then drive away. When the police arrive at the scene, they found the couple alive, but he's in critical condition. The unfortunate girl died on the way hospital, but the big guy was lucky to survive. Until about 1:40 a.m. Immediately after the incident, Vallejo Police Department, I got a call from a mysterious man, a known identity, claiming to be the perpetrator of the attack. He even admitted it casually. I was also the one who committed the crime. Mistress 6 months ago. She called the police department, and it started like this. They were shot with a 9mm loader. I also killed those kids last year. Act arrogantly. His provocation made the police extremely angry. They decided they had to find him. It's clear the unsub was deliberately teasing the police. Follow the trace of the incoming call. The police knew the call. It's done at a public phone booth. How to touch gasoline. It's a few blocks from the Valero Police Department, and it's just 500 meters from the Ferdin victim's house. When the police came to the phone booth to check, then the unsub disappeared without a trace. No fingerprints were found on the phone to determine his identity. According to Michael's testimony, the man who survived the attack provided to the police some description of the characteristics of the suspect. White male, 26 to 30 years old. Height about 1.7 m, BA from 88 to 91 kilograms or more. Short curly hair, light brown. The 8th of January 1969, a month after the second case. BA local mainstream newspapers included. The letter was written by hand and the writer confessed that I was the killer in the case. The case in the Lover's Lane last year, because the letter describes some of the details that the police have never revealed to the outside world. So the man who wrote the letter was supposed to be the murderer. At the end of the letter, for the first time, people see the killer's signature, a symbol consisting of a circle and a 10-shaped sign stacked on top of it. It's kind of like a gun sight. What is remarkable is that each newspaper gets a different code. It's composed of letters and symbols and images. After piecing together all 3 pieces of code, we get a complete cipher of 408 characters, later known as code Z408. The killer claimed, just decode is turned on the code on, we will know his identity. He threatened the newspapers. The contents of the letter, it should be on the front page of the newspaper. If not, we will continue to sin every weekend night, until he killed 12 people. The press doesn't take risks. To answer, grant his request and publish the contents of the letter, to get 10 more leads for the police. In the attached article, they also expressed hope that the killer will send more letters, to prove he's the author of the case. 6 days after receiving the first letter, the 8th of July 1969. Said newspaper, Francisco Exeliner did get a second letter. The letter begins with a glass to the editor. I'm the Zodiac. This is the first time the killer called himself the Zodiac. Zodiac means zodiac sign in Greek. Constellation Sao. It's made up of different animals, so the zodiac refers to the 12 zodiac signs. The 12 regions are evenly divided on the zodiac. It's called the 12 constellations. People who were born around the time. Which constellation does the sun go through will be affected by that constellation. In the second letter, the zodiac says that you just have to solve the code. Everyone will know who he is. There's a couple in California, a man named Donald Hardin, and his wife, Betty Hardin. To read the code on the front page of a newspaper, they were very curious. They have some knowledge of deciphering, and after a few days of tinkering, they've solved the Z408 code. Content when decoded as follows. I like to kill, because it's much more fun than hunting wild animals in the forest, so let's get down to them. It gives us a lot of experience. It's better than sleeping with a woman. The best thing is when we die, I will be reborn in heaven. Those who have lost their lives at my hands, you will become my slave. I will not tell you who I am, because you will try to hold me back, or stop us from collecting more slaves. For my life, in the world beyond. Turned out password Z408 has been using alternative encryption methods, where a certain character or group of characters represents an English letter. Based on the frequency of each letter, in English, it can be deduced a character or a group of characters represents an English letter. To increase the difficulty of cryptography, password Z408 Use multiple characters to represent for a letter. For example, the letter E appears frequently, most often in English words. The zodiac is represented by many different characters. It's not easy to crack. But this couple in California, we figured out the rules and deciphered Z4, 8 by the method of using alternative encoding. Unfortunately, the code was solved. Not reveal your true identity as the zodiac confirmed. You can see that he's very cunning. Decoding can't stop the zodiac. On the contrary, it drives him even more crazy. A month after the third incident, on Saturday afternoon, the 27th of September 1969, my father and I were fishing in Lake Berissa in Napa County. Suddenly I heard someone screaming from a distance. When they arrived, they found a couple are lying on the ground, with many stab wounds and bleeding. It's a very tragic scene. So they rushed to call an ambulance and call the police. When the police arrived at the scene, I saw the woman lying on the ground, still awake, and they were immediately taken to the hospital. The woman then also calmed down and said, "My name is Cecilia Sebert. I'm 22 years old. I was with my 20-year-old boyfriend Brian Hartnell that day to the island in Lake Berryessa for a picnic. Suddenly, a man in a mask suddenly appeared. He's wearing a black hood. Eyes with sunglasses, can't identify the face. The shirt he wore on his chest, there's a circle and a 10-letter symbol superimposed on each other. It's about 7 millimeters in diameter. It's worse than having a gun. Asked us to turn over our car keys and wallet. We shiver follow. But in the end he didn't take it. And then he took out the plastic wire that had been cut and asked me to tie Brian's hands behind my back. I can only follow. And then he kept tying up my hands. At first we all thought that this is just a regular robbery, and if you just cooperate, you're lucky to escape. But did not expect, he suddenly pulled out his knife and randomly crashed into you. We passed the inspection. Brian was stabbed 8 times and Cecilia was stabbed 10 times. Eventually the wound was too heavy and deep. Cecilia lost a lot of blood and didn't survive, but Brian was very lucky to have survived like a miracle. I described it to the police. The characteristics of the killer are as follows. White male, about a foot tall, 80 pounds. At the school, police found a shoe print. After the analysis belongs to a military boot. Based on shoe size and estimated depth, the attacker weighed more than 95 kilograms. On the door of the 2 victims, the police found the text written with a luminescent pen. It's got the zodiac symbol and the inscription. Value 122 for 6 NINE. Boss 276 NINE 630. Bike night around 7:40 on the same day. Napa County Sheriff. I got a call from a man. He confirmed I was the attacker in the case and the machine. Through the trace chain. Call. It's done from a public phone booth. It's just a few blocks from the Napa County Sheriff's Department. The police then arrived at the scene and get fingerprints on public phones. Based on fingerprints and the crime, police say the case was committed by the Zodiac. This is the 3rd murder he's committed, but his identity is still a Zodiac mystery. Even more aggressive, and constantly teasing the police. 2 weeks later, on Saturday, November 10, 1969, the 4th case occurred. That night, 3 teenagers reported to the police that, "We're having a party at home. I accidentally saw a taxi, suspicious, parking across the road. Someone opened fire on the driver in the Presidio neighborhood. 2 Maple Roads in Washington, San Francisco. The attacker fled to the north after the shooting. His characteristics are white male, 25 to 30 years old. Hair reddish brown, height from 1.7 m to 1.75 m. After receiving the call, Total immediately notified the officers on duty nearby. 2 patrol officers named Don Faki and Edixim happened to be near the street above. They immediately observed the passers-by. The suspect may be one of them. While patrolling, they discovered a white man. There is even indentation. Doesn't seem like a good person at first. However, the operator falsely reported that the suspect is black, so they ignored it, without going to interrogate the man on. When the police arrived at the scene, they found the taxi driver, 29-year-old Paul Stein. He was shot in the head with a 6 to 9 millimeters gun and died. And part of his shirt was ripped off. 3 teenagers report redescribing their appearance. The suspect made the police realize they may have confronted the unsub. There's a fingerprint, a blood stalker. It is also found in Texas. It is believed to belong to the perpetrator. Based on the story of 3 teenagers, the police officer painted a portrait of the suspect. He's wearing a pair of square plus glasses, and there's clear lines on the forehead. The case continues to be publicly acknowledged by the Zodiac. When he sends a follow-up letter to the press, he also expressed, 2 police officers stopped me that night and asked if you see anyone suspicious. And I said, there's an ad that's carrying a gun towards the park. The officers also left. But 2 patrol officers denied it, that they'd talked to a white man. The 14th of October 1969, days after the taxi driver. San Francisco newspaper for Jonico. I once again received a letter from the Zodiac. In the letter, he admitted to the taxi case a few days ago, and I also sent a piece of my shirt, tortured by the victim. In addition, he declared, blood was left at the scene. It's a false lead to distract the police. The taxi driver case. It is the 4th case officially recognized by the Zodiac. A week later, the 22nd of October 1969. The police got a call early in the morning from a man who calls himself the Zodiac. He asked to be on a live TV show. Famous, he appointed a presenter and certain guests to attend. Over the course of the program, he called several times, but every conversation is very brief. He agreed to be called Sam and expressed an unwillingness to reveal his true identity for fear of being taken to the gas chamber, because this was an American video format at the time. The police then traced the source of the call and discovered Sam's a patient at a psychiatric hospital. It's not a real Zodiac. As soon as the broadcast is over, San Francisco newspaper for Nico. I got another letter from the Zodiac. It's a 340 character code. The same familiar Zodiac symbol. Maybe it's because of the Z code. 408 was previously deciphered too easily by a couple, so the Zodiac designed the Z code. But 4 is not much more complicated. Countless people have tried to decipher. I also firmly believes that you just need to decipher it. Know the true nature of the Zodiac. But the ZBA40 cipher is incredibly difficult to solve. Hard to transparent, more than 55. There's no AI that can decipher it. Until 2020. New ZBA40 cipher successfully cracked. And I'll mention that later. In the time after that, the Zodiac continues to send letters to newspapers. However, the police, his personality still seems to show no sign of stopping. On Sunday, the 22nd of March 1971, the woman with the name Catherine Zone went to the police station to report her case. She pointed to the portrait of the Zodiac on the wall and choking express, "That's the man who tried to kill me." When the police heard that, they immediately asked her what was going on. San told me, "I was driving with my daughter to visit my mother on a BA2 near the city of Moreto. I noticed there's a car in the back. Keep honking and flashing, please pass." So I stopped by the side of the road. After getting out of the car, the Kia also stopped behind my car. There was a man who came out of the car and said, "The back wheel on the right side of my car is shaking, and we need to tighten the screws. I'm 7 months pregnant and carrying a child less than a year old, so it's very difficult to move." The stranger helped me fix my car and drive away. But as I continue my journey, the wheels start to shake more violently. It almost felt like getting out of the car, so I had to stop the car. Then the man who had just returned suddenly came back and offered to drive me to the nearest gas station to seek help. I don't reject a man's kindness. Get your daughter in his car. But then, the man was driving for an hour and a half without ever stopping. Even though I've passed through many gas stations, every time I ask why you don't stop, he changed the subject and even threatened to kill her. It scares me so much. As the car crosses the intersection, I had the courage to hug her and jump out of the car and hide in the field. Maybe out of compassion for my risky behavior. So he didn't chase at all. After making sure he left, I tried to get another car to the police station. Let the press have evidence that. The man then returned to Carlin's car and burned the car. However, the police believe that the evidence was not strong enough to justify the case. Zodiac made. The 20th of April 1970, the Zodiac sent a new letter. At the end of the letter, he wrote a 13-character code. This is the famous C13 code. At the same time, he implied that primary school students are his ideal target. We've drawn an explosive device and vowed to blow up a school bus. At the end of the letter, the sign of the Zodiac is 10, Spide 0. It was then explained that the Zodiac killed 10 people. The San Francisco Police Department. He hasn't solved any of his cases. 8 days later, the 28th of April 1970, the Zodiac sent another letter to San Francisco. For Nicole with content. I hope you enjoy my explosion. It's accompanied by a Zodiac symbol. He threatened that if the news didn't come out as soon as he said, he's going to blow up a bus. He also wants to see people wearing his Zodiac sign. But the police didn't do what he said. 3 months later, the Zodiac sent another letter. I have 7 hopes for no. I see people with their own special mark. To punish police disobedience, he used a 6 caliber B8. He shot dead a man sitting in his car. The murder took place a week earlier and the victim died. It was a man named Richard Herodic, but there's no relevant evidence. So the police don't believe it's the Zodiac. What's scary and confusing is that when the Zodiac declares, we've planted a time bomb that's going to explode in the fall, and a map of the San Francisco Bay Area. Out on the map, there's a circle and a 10-letter shape. There are 4 numbers written around it. At the end of the letter, he wrote a 32-character code, called the famous Z32 cipher. Zodiac manifests. Cracking the code. I'll help you find the time bomb I hid. But the code hasn't been solved yet, and the police haven't found any bombs. On October 2nd to 7th, 1971, a man named Paul Every. I received a Halloween card from Zodiac with threat inside. I can feel it in my bones. Who yearns to know my name? And so I'll give you a hint. Paul is a well-known local reporter. He told the story of the Zodiac. Then I got another anonymous letter saying, 4 years ago there was an unsolved case. It's very similar to the Zodiac method of murder. 4 years ago, in the 30th of October 1966, there's a girl named Sherry Bed who's 18 years old. She's studying at the library of the community college. Riverside doesn't leave until 9 p.m. The next day they found out. Her body lies on the school's stone road. And there's no sign of survival. When the police arrive at the scene, they found out you've been brutally assaulted, stabbed to death in a state, almost head off her neck. At the scene, the police found a broken Hunan watch. The clock stops at 12:24. There's paint on the watch, supposedly purchased from a military base. The police also found a shoe. Troops at the scene. It could have come from a nearby airbase. However, the case is related to the Zodiac. In the 29th of January 1974, the San Francisco Chronicle. A letter from the Zodiac. In the letter, he commented on the new X movie. He scoffed that this was the funniest movie we've ever seen. At the end of the letter he wrote MEBA7 SFBD. Some people think he may have killed 37 people. And the number of cases the police solved was 0, while the FBI only confirmed that the Zodiac was responsible for 4 cases, but the actual number could be much higher. It is worth noting that this is the last letter from the Zodiac. Although then, the police and the press received many letters from others, but they're all supposed to be the work of forgers. Done. The Zodiac commits many crimes and is extremely arrogant. The police were determined to catch him. According to incomplete statistics, there are up to 2,500 suspects, including a number of key suspects. Arthur Allen, a proud warrior jailed for rape. His colleague's name is Dolan Chaney. Reported to the police that Arthur mentioned killing people at night to me, and he used the Zodiac name. The police quickly caught the attention of the police, so they went to search Allen's house and discovered out a watch with the Zodiac sign on it. Besides, he has a machine. Letters of the same type used by the Zodiac. A friend of Arthur's told me the watch with the Zodiac sign is a gift that he was admitted in 1967. That's 1 year before the Zodiac. Arthur also told his friends that I will kill lovers and send letters to the media in the name of the Zodiac. First time, the Zodiac sent a letter to the media in August 1969. Arthur had this idea before January 1969. Most people killed by the Zodiac. Most of them are lovers. I agree with Arthur's words. So the police took Arthur on the list of prime suspects. Out in the golf course case, the survivor was named Michael M. G. also recognizes a poem in the photo. He claims that he attacked you. After each case, the police are investigating Arthur, but only got 10 pieces of evidence. It's not enough to convict. At that time, DNA technology had not yet developed, so we can't make a comparison. Arthur has spent more than 20 years under police investigation. He died in 1992 at the age of 59. 2002 police used modern technology to extract a passage, DNA from saliva, the letters sent by the Zodiac and compared to Arthur's DNA, but the results don't match. The next suspect is Lauder Ken. Have knowledge of cryptography. 1962. He suffered a traumatic brain injury in a car accident. Then, he was sent to prison for stalking and stalking. The police suspect him because he used to stalk and stalk his victims. In the second case in Brewdock Spring, 5 days after it happened, he changed cars. In the Zodiac code sent, they found the channel. BA8 and password adds up to 24. That birth canal 1924. In another case, the woman named Carolyn identified. The channel was the one who tried to kill her that night. And you chose him directly. 6 of the photos were taken by the police. The police then targeted the channel. But the results show his handwriting and fingerprints don't match. Over the next few centuries, the police found a lot of other suspects. It looks like the Zodiac, but they're all excluded. Time to 2020. That's almost 51 years after the case. Mass murder of the Zodiac happened. Because of the worldwide pandemic, many people choose to stay at home to stay safe. A man named Sam Black. Getting bored after a long period of time at home. So I decided to find more bow coins to solve the Z cipher. BA40 of the Zodiac. He knows that it's going to be hard for you to decipher alone. So I've contacted 2 experts who point in the same direction. They're David Odenjack, an American software engineer, studied ZBA40 for 15 years, and Rai I-Flag, a German programmer. After finding a team member to decipher, 3 people officially started work. Over 55 via Z-code BA40 still unsolved. Some people just coalesce a few words. I can't understand it all. BA who they believe orders ZBA40. Sure, it's not ordered horizontally, usually, so they've used this idea and computer software to try rearrange 340 characters in many different directions, and has created nearly 650,000 combinations. They've developed decryption software called ASD and enter nearly 650,000 permutations and combinations into it, and then make changes according to different keys. The results they found. See some important keywords in that string. I hope you try to get me a gas tank. After getting the results above, they've divided 340 characters into 3 paragraphs. The first and second paragraphs consist of 9 lines. The third paragraph consists of 2 lines, and then they rearrange the segments diagonally and use ASD software to replace the letters in the code. Suddenly a magical scene happened. It doesn't just appear more words, it also turns into a sentence. The code appears. The TV show is a TV show. Gas tank chamber. As I mentioned above, in 1969, someone was on a TV show and once claimed that he doesn't want to go into the gas chamber. This makes the 3 of them very excited, even though it hasn't been completely deciphered yet, but at least the direction is right. 3 speculators. The Zodiac may have deliberately misspelled some words when placing code to increase the difficulty of solving. And the result, they've discovered some misspelled words. There are words in it. After discovering the flaws in, they used the algorithm to fix the scrambled letters. They finally succeeded in the decoding of ZBA40 with the contents as follows. I hope you have fun in the process of catching me. The man mentioned in the TV show, not me. I'm not afraid of a pale room. It will take us to heaven faster. We have enough slaves to serve us. The others have nothing, so they're afraid of death. But I'm not afraid at all, because we will have a new life. After being a successful decoder, they've released the entire decryption process to the public. It was officially recognized by the FBI. although the Z-code BA40 has been deconstructed, but there is no personal information. What form is mentioned in the code? In fact, at the time, Zodiac has left a total of 4 ciphers. Z408, ZBA40, ZABA and ZBA2. The first 2 codes have been solved, but the following 2 codes due to too few characters, so it's very difficult to resolve. By June 2021, a French engineer named Facebook Giroux solved the last 2 codes of the Zodiac himself. Chora decoding results from Kia. Engineer Giroux believes that this is Lauren Ken's surname. The writing is a little different, but the pronunciation is very close. He was one of the police suspects, but then it was excluded. Zidoui's conclusions were not confirmed by the FBI, and cryptographers recognize. Some people think the zodiac symbol is derived from the lunar calendar. There are 13 months in a year. A week has 7 days and a month has 4 weeks. The first day of the week is called daily. Its image is very similar to the symbol of the zodiac. Zodiac cases happen again on a daily basis. It's not just 4 official cases. There are 8 other unofficial cases. It all happens daily. This is a coincidence, or the original intention of the Zodiac. There's an organization called DK Breaker. It's translated as the people who solved the crime. This organization was established in 2011 by a Los Angeles documentary director, Thomas G. and Dalla Combert, a non-profit organization. They claim to have more than 40 investigators, including the retired FBI team, police doctor, forensics, private detective, and so on. We can say multi-talented. An investigative team, specialized in solving some cases. The famous case has not been solved, and the Zodiac series. It's also one of the cases. They're most interesting. The 10th of June 2001, the organization has stated that we've solved the mystery. Lasting more than this 55. The suspect was named Gary Francis, born in 1938, living in California. He is 1.75 m, short brown hair. He was a United States Air Force officer, and the 5th in the mid-1960s. He then worked as an artist for 45 years, and passed away in 2018, enjoy 80 years of age. The investigation team found a young photo of the post. It shows a distinctive scar on his forehead, due to a car accident, coincides with the portrait of the Zodiac. The police announce the investigation team is known to post violent tendencies. 2016, he pushed his elderly wife down the stairs. She was seriously injured, but she was lucky to survive. He was later jailed for domestic violence because he has Alzheimer's, cannot stand trial, and was transported to the hospital for treatment until his death in 2018 at the age of 81. The Post's prison friend said, "In prison, he once admitted to me that he was the Zodiac." The investigation team then sequenced the Post's connection with every crime of the Zodiac, and they found out that Post, it's connected to the case of a girl named Beth in 1966. The first, it's the watch that broke its strap at the scene. Case, supposedly purchased from a military base in the 1960s. He used to be a U.S. Army veteran. And treatment at Max Air Force Base Hospital. The kitchen murder scene, 15 minutes drive. Then the lab discovered there is paint on the surface of the watch. Coincides with the paint job of the Post. Footprints of military boots at the scene. Related to the third case, that the police claim that Zodiac Ra, the killer's brown hair, it was found in the victim's hand. It matches the hair color of the Post. In fact, there's evidence that the investigation team believes that's the Zodiac action in the kitchen case. A month after the kitchen, the Riverside Daily in Riverside County, Bank, California, received a name-picking letter, typed with a typewriter, using some very similar words to Zodiac. For example, they both like to use the word "iso-squirm trick." The case occurred in 1966. While the first Zodiac case was confirmed in the 20th of December 1968, Riverside Police Department, the agency directly responsible for the kitchen case, not believe that he was the killer in that case, as the investigation team mentioned. Outside the investigation team, let us look at specific actions in the past, Post and received information from BA people. That's veteran Smith, Michelle of the Post, and the neighbor's name was Jenny. Smith told investigators that, "I'm protecting a man who was gang raped by the Post, tracked for 15 years. It's called Win. I used to be a fan of the Post, but then escaped from the Post's gang and roamed the mountains 15 now over 50 years old. One day, he saw where the murder weapon was buried. So he revealed the secret to his teammates. But he doesn't know if they care. Wynn described the post as very cruel, likes torture, and killing wild things in the mountains and forests, and cut their bodies. The gang wants to train. Green becomes a killing machine, but in the end, I can't stand it and run away. The other is Michelle of the Post. She claims that the Zodiac killer consists of 3 men. Which post caused the most damage and have control in the group. Even though he's been dead for 3 years, there are still loyal people to be devoted to him in a hidden way. After I divorced my husband, the Post ordered 2 of his followers to attack me, until I moved to escape his grip. A neighbor named Rennie told me that when I was a kid, he took care of me and taught me how to use a gun. He loves to hunt in the forest, and often out into the woods 5 days a week. I also saw him defend his wife. But his wife just silently endured without daring to look. I recently found his wife. She is now 75 years old. After I expressed my intention to come, his wife was honest with me. I'm sorry I didn't tell the police about his past. The Zodiac may not be an individual. Members of the Zodiac, they may have separate tasks. Some can write letters, while others can kill. However, many experts have said, questioning the range of evidence that the investigation team, Dirty Tree Breaker, taken out. Some people say, we studied the Zodiac 15 times, but we haven't found a single witness describe the lines on his forehead. So they think the use of scars on the forehead is evidence. There is no base. Faced with many different suspicions, the best way is to compare DNA. 2002 DNA technology was popularized. The technicians extracted the DNA information from the stamp of the Zodiac because it's very possible the Zodiac has a habit of stamping letters with saliva, but there's no matching AI in the database. There were no previous suspects. But at least we got the Zodiac DNA. Now just compare the Post's DNA with the DNA of the Zodiac to get results. Known, the Post's DNA is kept at the police station and and want to compare. It must be approved by the authorities. The suspect Post, by the Prickler Dirty investigation team. Both the FBI and local police, none of them support this view. Is the Zodiac a Post or something else? The truth about the unsolved case, for more than half a century, will be revealed in the near future. Or maybe, the true identity of the Zodiac followed him to his grave, and we'll never find out. Zodiac Trial. It inspired the birth of many books and movies, including Dirty Harry 1971, starring Clint Eastwood, and the 2007 Zodiac movie starring Robert Downey Jr. Even though time has passed, maybe the Zodiac name must be 7 feet deep, but his once terrifying obsessions, it's on the minds of many Americans. What do you think about the Zodiac killer? Today's video ends here. See you in the next videos. Hello.